This time of year comes with a lot of barbecues and cookouts with friends and family, including those impromptu, hey, you want us to come to dinner tonight? Yeah, sure. Oh, in an hour. Oh, yeah, sure, no problem at all. You know me, I'm always prepared. Bring a dessert too? Sure, of course. I'm like actually staring right at a cake I baked this morning. Yeah, sure, I'll see you soon. Don't worry, I'm gonna show you some easy keto dishes that you can bring to any last minute gathering so you can stay on track without sacrificing your goals. First is a fun appetizer that everyone will enjoy. Most of us have blocks of cheese, pepperoni, olives, pickles, nuts in our pantries and fridge. If you don't, it's actually a good thing to stock up on for moments like these because they have a long shelf life. But we're not using these to make a charcuterie board. We're making charcuterie, which is much easier. Instead of laying all of your little nibbles out on a board, we're gonna make little charcuterie kebabs. I like using different cheeses, salami, pepperoni, thick slices of cucumbers, tomatoes, olives, mini dill pickles. You could even do berries for a fruit and cheese kebab. For those who are dairy-free, this brand has some delicious flavors made from cashew milk. Just fun to assemble, and you can just make up a bunch and put them on a board or just add them to mason jars so that each person gets their own appetizer jar. You can even fill the jars with nuts, berries, or cucumbers and a little bit of grape tomatoes to add for an additional snack to enjoy at the end. You know who really likes this idea? My kids. My kids love any kind of food that comes with a free miniature sword. Not only is this one dish that they're guaranteed to eat, but those kebabs are filled with proteins, fats, and a lot of nutrition. The nutrition that my kids don't get from their food, they get with their multivitamins, which is what my sponsor for today's video helps with. Hyatt is a daily children's vitamin that has 0 added sugar, and it's not one of those vitamins that are basically candy. Many children's vitamins can have up to 2 teaspoons of sugar, unhealthy chemicals, and other gummy junk that a growing kid should not be getting in their vitamin. Hyatt is pediatrician approved and formulated with the help of nutritional experts to create a vitamin that is made with a blend of 12 organic fruits and veggies. Then it's supercharged with 15 essential vitamins and minerals to help support immunity, energy, brain function, mood, concentration, teeth, bones, and so much more. It's non-GMO, vegan, dairy-free, allergy-free, gelatin-free, nut-free. Since my boys are very active in sports, it means that they're getting the nutrition that they need that they might not be getting from their food, so they can continue to stay active, build muscle, and strong bones. Hyatt arrives straight to your door. Your first month, each kid gets a reusable glass bottle that they can personalize with stickers so that you can tell them apart. Then every month thereafter, Hyatt sends a no plastic refill patch of fresh vitamins. Hyatt is offering my viewers 50% off their first purchase. Go to hyathealth.com/KetoFocus or click on the link in the description. If you need to bring a side dish, my go-to is this incredible kale salad tossed with toasted almonds, Parmesan cheese, and a tangy garlic-infused lemon vinaigrette. Starting with the thing that takes you longest to prepare, even though it takes you under 5 minutes to do, we're gonna toast the almonds. Add a half a cup of sliced almonds to a skillet and lightly toast over medium heat until they're golden brown and fragrant. You can toast your almonds in an oven too, but a skillet is so much faster because you don't have to wait for the oven to heat up. After they're golden brown and toasted, remove them from the heat and set them aside to cool while we work on the dressing. Add a 1/3 cup of lemon juice and a teaspoon of salt to a mason jar. You can use fresh or bottled juice. I'm gonna use bottled because, in case you didn't hear, I have to be there in an hour and I still gotta make that dessert. Next, pour in 1/2 cup of olive oil. To get that infused garlic flavor, mash 4 cloves of garlic to release their aroma and add that to the jar. Since I want to add as much garlic flavor as possible, I like to make up the dressing before I leave the house. Not only is it so much easier to carry, but I can just pack the kale, Parmesan cheese, toasted almonds, and dressing. Then before we eat, toss everything together. So to a large salad bowl, I'll add about 7 ounces of baby kale leaves, the toasted almonds, and a cup of grated Parmesan cheese. Then pour on the dressing. Often, if I don't have the kale or Parmesan cheese at home, I'll make the dressing and the almonds at home, and then on the way to the party, just swing by the store and get your kale and Parmesan cheese. I did say I would make a dessert. We are gonna make a cake, but not a plain keto cake. This is a low-carb chocolate trifle that is perfect for summer. Not only are these deliciously creamy layers ideal to eat cold, but we use a lot of shortcuts in this recipe so you don't have to put in a ton of effort or add a bunch of ingredients. Start with a boxed keto chocolate cake. This one is by King Arthur. It's my favorite. It tastes delicious, it's gluten-free, there's only 2 grams of net carbs per serving, but any keto cake mix is gonna work. You're just gonna follow the instructions on the back. So this one is gonna need 4 eggs, a half a cup of avocado oil, and a cup of nut milk. Once your cake is mixed, pour it into a 9x13 baking dish or a baking sheet. I'm gonna use this quarter sheet baking pan that I have lined with parchment paper because I want a shallow cake. Plus, it's gonna decrease the cooking time too. Bake according to the instructions on the box. For this cake, it needs to go in a 375-degree oven, but there's no instructions for the quarter sheet pan, so I just have to check it. I did notice that after 10 minutes, the cake was done. Remove it from the oven and then let it cool while we work on our next layer, which is pudding. Instead of making pudding from scratch, we're using another shortcut, which is to use keto pudding mix. There are some sugar-free pudding brands out there. The one that I like and recommend is by Simply Delish because their pudding is sweetened with stevia and erythritol. But here, I'm not gonna follow the package instructions. I actually want a thinner consistency pudding, and you'll see why when I assemble my trifle. To a large bowl, pour in 2 cups of nut milk. I'm using macadamia nut milk because it's the lowest carb nut milk I know of. Then we're gonna open up the package of pudding mix. This one I'm using vanilla because that's all I had, but actually chocolate is very delicious in this recipe. Start mixing that together and then pour in a 1/3 cup of heavy whipping cream. Continue to mix for 3 to 5 minutes. This will start to thicken slightly. After that time's up, just set it aside and we're gonna work on our next layer, which is chocolate whipped cream. Here, pour in 1.5 cups of heavy whipping cream to a large bowl. Start to mix that with an electric mixer until you get it frothy, and then add 3 tablespoons of powdered sugar-free sweetener. Mix that until it's combined. Then mix in 2 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa powder. As you mix this, you're gonna notice that the cocoa powder looks real grainy at first, but once you continue to mix it until it's thickened and you get stiff peaks, it's gonna be fully incorporated. And now we assemble. Cut your cooled cake into cubes. For the serving dishes, you could go with a large trifle bowl or smaller dishes. I went with smaller dishes because I want it to be portion controlled so I know how many carbs are in here so I don't have to go overboard with my carbs. Plus my large trifle dish was the size of a horse trough. It's very, very large. For the smaller trifles, I'm making around 8 servings. Start by pouring a 1/4 cup of the pudding to the bottom. You can see that it's thickened a little bit more. Then about a cup of our cake, or just like 1/8 of the cake. You can keep it as squares or you can crumble them up on top too. Crumbling the cake actually makes a more uniform layer. Then top that with a dollop of chocolate whipped cream, then another 1/4 cup of pudding, and finish with a swirl of whipped cream topping. You can eat these right away, but I think they are best served chilled. The pudding will soak into the cake, making it very moist and refreshing. My husband hates that word. This reminds me of a poke cake, and honestly, you could turn it into a poke cake if you didn't want to have to mess with making a trifle. It would be a lot easier, but I just love these beautiful layers and the presentation of a trifle. All of these flavors combined, this dessert does not even taste low carb. So it's one that everyone will love, including you, because you don't have to fall off the keto bus every time you go to a backyard barbecue. But even if you did fall off track, I've got some great tips to get you back on. Just click right here.